Well, good afternoon. Welcome to a very sunny Rex Jackson Oval, Helensburgh, the iconic Rex Jackson Oval. For this clash, a Northern Derby, the Helensburgh Tigers hosting the Thirroul Butchers. I'm Mitch Jennings from the Illawarra Mercury, bringing you all the action for Bar TV Sports. And while we are up here for a Northern Derby, it's fitting that I am joined by the voice of the North, Johnny Pett. Johnny, walking into the ground today, doesn't this just have a feel about it? Old Boys Day at the Rex Jackson Oval. It just feels like it's just up a notch on a normal club game, doesn't it?
Mate, unreal. Eye the Tiger playing in the background right now. I'd say it won't be the first time we hear this song today. Walking into the gates today, none other than Kezzy Apps on the gate, doing her bit.
How good is that?
Doing
I was
her
thinking
bit for
that
her
as
team,
well.
the Helensburgh Tigers.
The superstar.
Personing the gate.
Jason Taumalolo of the women's game.
Great ambassador for the game. And,
she's there on the gate.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
she'll be playing today at 4:30. But look, I'm actually excited for this one. It's got that semi-final feel about it. So much to play for both sides. The Butchers, they want to hold this first spot position. And the Berg, they've got the best chance of any team in this competition to clinch that fourth spot today. Old Boys Day at Helensburgh. It's no other place to be if you're around in the area to come up here. If you can't, I hope you enjoy the telecast today.
Yeah, indeed. There is no substitute for being there, but we will do our absolute best for you on the call. You can hear Eye of the Tiger belting out from those speakers. They got the volume very high there. The viewing gallery up there is full as well. And the tunnel of Old Boys for the Berg to come out in just a moment, as they will take the field. Johnny, run us through the sides.
Well, for the Helensburgh Tigers today, coached by Gavin Lennon, at fullback Corey Willis. The wingers, Lachlan Peachy and Daniel Stojanovski. The centres, Ash Nisbet and Arnold Wolf. The halves, Mitch McRae and Russ Aiken. The front row, Azan Thirroul and the big Peter Gallen. The back row of Kurt Atkinson, Jordan Tonga High, Mitch Bailey to lock the scrum in the bench, Liam O'Toole, Nahana Walters and Pierce Thompson. Azan Thirroul playing his 100th game today.
Mate, one of the best wingers I've ever seen go around in this competition. He's gradually made his way through. He's got the number 8 on his back. Never thought I would live to see that. Good on him. What a clubman, and well-deserved. What a milestone.
Look, a couple of years ago, we were watching Azan Thirroul score some unbelievable tries.
Absolutely.
And now he's one of the big pigs in the middle, the front row, with the 8 on his back. How good. And look, for the visiting side, the Thirroul Butchers, coached by Jared Costello. At fullback, Blake Higgins. The wingers, Hayden Crosland and Tom Simpson. The centres, Wayne Dargan and Callum Tatawa. The halves, Ryan Fletcher, Jake Walsh. The front row, Jack Noble and Joel Ruskin. The number 9, Joel Johnson, he'll skip at the side. The back row, Jay Gallagher, Luke Gallagher, Damien Sirenen, and the bench, Jared Whitty, Michael Henderson, Riley Lord and Aaron Shop. A notable admission, no Mick Morris.
Yeah, no, Mick Morris, I think he's nursing a couple of niggles. He's hard as nails. He's probably he's coming back to haunt him the way he plays the game, hard and tough as they come. Just having a bit of a spell this afternoon. Still a fairly decent pack that you read out there, Johnny, and that's really where this battle's going to be won this afternoon. Some fair pigs in that Helensburgh lineup you read out as well. I really think it's going to come down to that battle in the middle.
Oh, it will. It's going to be one up the middle of the paddock today. The Berg, Old Boys Day, they're going to leave nothing on the field after this 80 minutes. But this Butchers side, that forward pack we've talked about all season, being so dominant in the first part of the season. And I'm really looking forward to seeing the young superstar Aaron Shop grace the field today off the bench. You know, he's still only 18 years of age. We've seen him here earlier today touch a bit of grass in the under-18s. Jared Costello using him to back up in first grade today.
We already seen him score the try of the century
yeah.
This year already, Aaron Shop, so he can put that in his highlight reel. And we are about to have the teams. I love it. Nothing else, nothing on the mix. It's the all Eye of the Tiger playlist they've got playing this afternoon. Whack it on repeat.
How many times do you reckon they played that when they won the comp a couple of years ago?
Mate, I just would have been non-stop. Would have been for days here, mate. Absolutely. Cole Doran would have been here. Saw it there on the microphone before. They're not going to be able to get it back off him. I can't believe they actually gave him a mic. Good luck prying it away from his hands there.
There's not many other clubs that do Old Boys Day like the Berg, is there?
They do it well.
They do it so well.
They do it brilliantly.
You know, they run out in front of all the old boys. You've got the reserve grade there. You've got the Tigers banner there. And look, I think Azan Thirroul will probably lead the boys out today, being his 100th game. What a day to do Old Boys.
Isn't
do
it
your
very
100
good?
on Old Boys Day.
We just see the Butchers now taking the park. I'll tell you what helps, the fact if you want to do Old Boys well, it helps to have a balcony and a bar upstairs.
Oh, doesn't it?
We touch on it at times. Whenever they did get a bit of coin a couple of years ago, they had the options to spend it on some posts, some pad posts, the ground, whatever they were going to spend it on, straight to the balcony. And I'll tell you what, they're earning their money back every week.
It wouldn't be Helensburgh without spending your money on the bar before the field.
And indeed it is. And we're up here, first time we've been up here this year, Johnny. It's rare it takes this long to make the trip up Lawrence Hargrave Drive, but we're standing in front of the big scoreboard, which we haven't seen before. Isn't this an absolute architectural feat.
Might be the envy of a few clubs, this
I
scoreboard.
think it will be now. It's handy. Certainly sparing no expense on that.
Look, here comes Thirroul leading out the team.
And he's getting a fair ovation. I don't think there's a more well-liked player in the Helensburgh club than Thirroul. Serviceable, and it tells you how much he's about the club. Like you said, he's probably a winger. His best foot he played in the backs, but he's wearing the number 8 for his club, and it tells you a lot about how much the orange and black means to him.
How good is it when they're running out with the under 6s, the under 7s in hand? That's unreal. These young kids would be absolutely stoked about this.
As we see, both sides now on the park. We'll have these things underway in just a moment. It is a Northern Derby. Spot on the table very rarely means much in these clashes, and I'm sure that will be the case today. You just see both sides pausing for a moment.
How good's the throw on Jordan Tonga?
Oh, it's handy,
That's sensational.
Isn't it? It's absolutely handy. Thought that all year. You've got to love the big back rower out here. Bit of Willie Mason about it back in his heyday with the afro.
And then you got Lachlan Pooch. You got the man bun.
You got it all, mate. It's good to see Helensburgh, with all respect, usually a bit of a short back and sides type club. I'm sure they cop a bit of grief through the week with the boys.
We'd just like to observe a moment's silence. We recently lost Timothy Collins. So can we just...
And as we say, we will be just having a minute's silence for the sad recent loss of Timothy Collins.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
And of course, all our condolences to the family of Timothy Collins. Lost this week. And Johnny, as we touched on, it's certainly observing a minute's silence respectfully there. I think that's about as quiet as we'll hear that viewing gallery this afternoon.
Yeah, you're going to hear some noise bellowing out of that throughout the 80 minutes of rugby league here today, and I tell you what, it'll be even louder because the Berg, they're running towards that end of the field, so if they can jag a few tries early in this first half, I tell you what, we're going to hear a lot of noise out of there.
And it will be the Tigers who'll get us underway. Corey Willis, the man
The spark plug.
with the footy, the spark plug. About the size of a spark plug too, isn't he? But I tell you what, a crucial man for the Tigers. He'll get us back underway. It's a wobbly old kickoff. It looks like the Tower's going to come forward and field this one. Making his way back infield with the first carry. Don't know if he'd have been expecting that, Callum Tatau, but he gets them on the front foot. Now it's Ruskin taking it up over the 30. We say no pink chalk on the 40-metre line. They're sticking solid with it, Helensburgh. They're doing it the way they've always done it. And all power to them. Ryan Fletcher now taking it up over halfway. Plays the ball to Johnson. Now Gallagher. He's up to the Tigers 40. Good opening set from the Butchers thus far. Now Noble with the tip on there for Sirinen. The statue, look at him go. Backing his way forward. And that is the last tackle. Handy meters in this first set from the Butchers. Walsh going to put this one high. I think he shanked that just slightly off the edge of the boot. Not anywhere near as deep as he would have liked it. Gallagher coming down with it. And in the end, it's Tonga High coming away with it. So a good opening set, Johnny, but certainly not the kick Jake Walsh would have been looking for on the end of it.
No, nice meters. Concerning for the Tigers there. The Butchers were already on the halfway there. 3 tackles into the set, but a little of a wayward kick there from Walsh. I don't think we'll see another one like that. He's got such a good boot on him, does Jake Walsh.
No doubt we will see the Butchers in here early on looking to really set the tone. It's a big day for the Tigers. A lot of emotion around it on Old Boys Day. The Butchers will be looking to take the sting out of that and really match that intensity early on.
Well, they don't want to miss the jump
back
this
on the
week.
inside. Have been missing the jump. It's been a bit of an Achilles heel for them of late. And that's Walters now. They'll go back for McRae delivering the kick. It's taken a deflection there from Dargan. And I think that'll be Helensburgh ball. And we do see it's a 50-50 play, the charge down at the best of times. Johnny, in those scenarios, do you think Jared Costello might have liked them to just let him get the kick away and let the likes of Higgins, Tommy Simpson bring that one back?
Well, maybe Dargan was watching the Dragons game the other day when the young number
Cam
9, McGuinness, charged that ball down. And
wasn't that a play?
Sensational.
Who would have thought? Who'd have backed Cam
Sensational.
McGuinness to out-sprint Cody Walker and Braden Burns to a ball? Desperation.
He just had the will to want that ball the other night.
I was righty. I was doing the running copy on that game, and I'd put it at the very top. Could it be the play that turns the Dragon season? Wasn't the case in the end. A good play nonetheless. Cam McGuinness's. Tongahai coming away from dummy half. That's a great tackle underneath from Gallagher. And certainly plenty of intent in what they're doing defensively here, the Butchers early on. This is Wolf. He takes it up to the 30 and beyond it. Atkinson at dummy half. Tongahai again, heavily involved Tongahai. He's on the 20. The Tigers building some early pressure here. Short side now for Willis. Flat ball there for Nisbet. Aiken crabbing across, drops it on the toe. It's taken a deflection again. And it comes into the hands there of Atkinson.
Nearly could have been an each-way bet there. Could have been another 6-2, the Tigers. Haven't seen much football since that first set of 6. The Butchers had really want to get themselves out of their own area. But what a plus for Jared Costello's men to have Jay Gallagher back on that right-hand fringe.
Yeah, he's been missing for a little while. We've already seen the turn of Sirinen dumping that ball out the back. It is that man Gallagher now off his left foot. The offload again, so some expansive footy early on from the Butchers deep inside their own end. This is Ruskin. Johnson at dummy half. Fletcher on to Gallagher. He's met there in the tackle of Atkinson. Peter Gallen also involved. Noble now. Ball in 2 hands, but he'll take it to ground. Walsh. That's a better kick than his first effort. He might be looking for touch over there just to settle it down, and he does well. And you had to know Jake Walsh wasn't going to put 2 bad kicks together, Johnny Pett.
That's the class of Jake Walsh there with his kicking game there. He just stayed composed and got that one, split the winger and the fullback and let it roll over the sideline there, and just gives the Butchers a little bit of a breather just to come and pack this scrum. It was a nice set of 6 out of their own area then from the visiting side.
Better effort defensively, though, from the Tigers, certainly getting up on the line speed. As we said, that first set of 6. I don't know if there is a better first set of 16 than the Butchers. They do march up the field when they receive the kickoffs, but Helensburgh medium them defensively there.
You like the statue with the 13 on his back?
Oh, mate, it's all the same these days.
It's just a middle. It's another
same.
Front row of the lock.
It's all the same. Usually they're a little bit undersized. You can't say that about big Damien Sirinen, but yeah, all the same to me, mate. It's just the number they have on their back. Nisbet now coming away from his own line. In fact, that is Nisbet with the footy now. That was Stojanowski, the winger, taking the previous carry. Williams at dummy half. Aiken, dummies once. Back on the inside for Wolf. And he was named in the centres, but it looks like he's playing in the back row. Mayhana Walters on this side, getting a start in the centres. Peter Gallen. Ever industrious Gallen taking it forward. And now McRae rolling that kick down for Higgins. It'll sit up for him. And after the stoppage, not a bad set there from the Tigers. Johnny got through it and a kick on the end of it, looking to build some pressure with their defence.
Yeah, well, it's, with 6 minutes into this first half, sometimes in games of rugby league, you tend to see one side being the dominant side. I think it's about level pegging at the moment. I'm really impressed the way that the Tigers have started this game.
They absorbed that early onslaught there from the Butchers in that first set, but really aiming up to a man defensively. Walsh now off his right foot. He gets away from the tackle of Tongahai. Dragged down in the end there by Nisbet. Gallagher. He had Sirinen in support. He dummies and he just pokes his head through the other side there. The defence converging to eventually bring him down. Now it's Walsh again. This is a high one. It'll be a tester for Peachy on this side. And he makes it look easy in the end. Big Lachlan Peachy, the skipper. He brings it up towards the 20. McRae. This is Walters. That's a good shot there from Fletcher. The Butchers number 6. He had a week off last week. Having a bit of fun and splendour in the grass, but
Bender and
Strike
Splendor.
back on. Bender on Splendor. Of course, a former Tiger as well, Ryan Fletcher, so he will be amped up for a clash with his former side.
Geez, that's a good carry.
It was Stojanowski, the winger, I think, coming in with that one. Now Tonga High, they go down the blind side, double up, looking for to get the arm free. Had Nisbet outside, but getting close to that chalk, perhaps wisely holds on to it. Aiken now, that's a wobbly old kick. He might be looking for touch as well. And he's bent that back, and they'll just settle down again. So as we go, the minutes, 8 minutes in we are, and both sides really going about their business quite tidily this far, Johnny.
Well, the completion rate's been high so far in this game. They're really getting the tail end of their sets, and that was a nice kick there from Aiken just to put it over the sideline there. And Butchers, they're camped in their own area now. They'll feed the scrum 10 metres out from their own try line. It just tends to be a way that, you know, the Berg, they're really starting to put pressure on this Thirroul outfit, just the way they've been completing their sets. No team's really turned around Thirroul a lot this year, but the Berg seem to be doing it.
And of course, that is the challenge for them. We know they can do it in patches, and it just seems in their early work that they've come here into this game realising it's going to have to be an 80-minute effort. Anything less will not suffice against the competition leaders, and they're playing the long game in their early work. Gallagher now just losing his footing. Tackled there by Bailey and Gallen. Ruskin. Good first up contact underneath there. I think it was Bailey again. It was the number 13 as Fletcher on the short side. He dummies. He'll take the tackle. You like to see that from a half early on. He's trying to milk a penalty here, Ryan Fletcher. I think he sold a pretty good dummy there. And that is a coach killer, Johnny, so late in the set.
Well, sure.
Give away a penalty like that. And I think he went looking for that one, Ryan Fletcher, and he got rewarded.
He could have sold ice to the Eskimos then, couldn't he?
I think he could have.
Speaking of haircuts, have a look at Tommy Simpson's flowing locks out here on the left.
He's getting them going, isn't he? He looks like an extra on Vikings at the moment.
2 piggybacks.
You'll love to hear that, won't he?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Now another penalty on the top of it. So, as we said, the Tigers really getting the arm wrestle early on, but back-to-back penalties and discipline will be key for them. And just letting them down there in their last 2 sets of 6. There's numbers to the right here for the Butchers, although they have numbered up there in the end. Gallagher, that was a nice flat ball there from Walsh, but he's tackled well over there by Bailey, I think it was. Johnson, second man for Fletcher. Dargan. And Dargan, well, he just went straight past Nahana Wilds. He got the offload away too for Ryan Fletcher.
Beautiful.
And just like that, that'll be the opening 4-pointer for the former Tiger. He's been throwing himself into it, like we said, against his former club. He'll be happy to open the scoring there. And bit of a strange one there, Johnny. They had probably more numbers defensively, Tigers, than Thirroul had ball runners, but Dargan, often silky smooth in the way he goes about his work, and he gets the offload away there for Ryan Fletcher. He'll grab the opening try.
Well, great line that Dargan run to start with there. He really had a lot of purpose when he carried that ball, and he got the arm free and flicked it out the back there, and Fletcher doing what all good halves do, just following that play the ball, but a try off the back of back-to-back penalties. And if Helensburgh want to stay in this game and be competitive in this whole 80 minutes against a team like Thirroul, you can't give away 1 penalty, let alone 2 in a row.
Yeah, Gav Lennon will no doubt be frustrated with, in particular, that first penalty. And we said it was perhaps a bit of a harsh one, a 50-50 one.
Just looking
rewarding Ryan Fletcher, the try scorer, for a little bit of milking, in our view, from where we are. Of course, the referee a much better view than we have from our vantage point. And as we see over there, Jay Gallagher just getting seen to by the trainers. I think he'll be okay, but looked like he was getting a bit of maybe he copped a bit of a cork in the leg. He's just hobbling slightly on that right peg. So we'll see how he fares in this next 5 to 10 minutes.
Oh, veteran physio.
By the looks of it.
The veteran physio, Pete McIntyre, out there doing some running repairs to Jay Gallagher. It's his first game back for a few weeks, Jay Gallagher.
Yeah, he's thrown himself into things early on too. He's such a key man for him on that edge. At his best, there simply is no better back rower on any edge anywhere. The way he can play, he's got all the skills in his arsenal. He's got great footwork for a big man. The offload in him, as we've already seen earlier in this one. So Jared Costello will be hoping that he can stay on the park. Couchy's going over there too. Do you think he's going to add some medical advice to that one as we see Luke Gallagher's
What do you reckon the advice Couchy's going to give?
Oh, just like he's come over and given him some moral support by the looks of things.
Yeah, we just seen Couchy run around in reserve grade.
Yeah, he's just putting in the miles, mate. I hope he's got a Fitbit on him. He's clocking up some steps. Maybe he's got NUM. Do you think he's got the NUM app on his phone and he's just clocking up the steps?
Clocking them up.
Mate, if they put a Fitbit on him going back and forth for the back bar at the Ryans, he'd rock up some steps there.
He'd hold the record.
On to Ruskin, bringing it back. Joel Ruskin, the veteran. Played a big stint last week in that opening 40 minutes from Joel Ruskin. Jared Costello using that match to get some running in the legs of the veteran. Loving this railing, Johnny. You can't see it on your screens, but
it's a great leaning point, isn't it?
It's got upper level, this scoreboard up at Helensburgh. The media box, the media facilities, taking a huge leap. It's not quite Bankwest Stadium just yet, but it's a step in the right direction as Fletcher into dummy half. Gallagher, the gladiator, he's on this side. Closest to our position. Another penalty and around. And again, you just wonder, is that a bit of a pedantic one? Johnny, Lachlan Peachy asking that very question, and again, it's another penalty late in the set.
I think Peachy's got every right to ask that question in regards to the tackle, but as you said, that's another penalty and inside Tigers territory. They won't want to give two away again because you know what happened last time.
The Butchers mounting their attack. Sirinen, second man there for Walsh, he'll throw a long ball to Tower over his head, clean over at Crosland, picking up the scraps, and he's tackled by Stojanowski over there. Tower coming back in field. Not much support with him. He gets the offload out the back and a bit more hot potato footy there from the Butchers. Gallagher, he'll play it 20 metres out just to the right of the uprights. Johnson, flat ball there for Noble, and he's left it behind Jack Noble. And, well, the Clouds, they just opened up for him a little bit there. Johnny had the fullback to beat, but he would have liked his chances against Corey Willis at the back there, Jack Noble, and perhaps that's what made him just take his eyes off the ball slightly and put it on the deck.
He was probably grinning like a Cheshire cat back then, knowing he only had Corey Willis to beat. But Nobes, he just couldn't grasp that ball and go underneath the dot, which I'm quite confident he would have if he got a full grip on the pill.
And look, Johnny, I don't know if Jack will be too happy with these offloads we're seeing just dumped out the back. Second phase can be a killer for the Butchers when they get it right, but dumping it out the back to a man not quite ready for it, not the way they like to go about their business typically, as Walters now coming away with it. They'll look to regroup. They've done a mountain of defensive work in the last 5 to 10 minutes, the Tigers, as they make their way upfield. That's a good carry from Gallen. A much needed one, and a nice play the ball on the back of it as well. That'll help them get out of trouble. Nisbet is up over the 30. Williams now, short side for Aiken, back on the inside for Tonga High. Russell Aiken, the number 7, veteran number 7, former NRL half, really showing plenty of energy in his work early in this one. And when you're playing in the big games, it's the big plays you need to step up for you, Johnny.
Yeah, it sure is. And just that kick there, it's the first one that Aiken's actually gone high and long. The rest of them have been just grubbers along the ground or finding touch there. So the first time that really Higgins has been under pressure at the back by a high ball.
Yeah, they do their research. Perhaps Gav Lennon and Russell Aiken, who Gav has said quite openly he's like having a coach on the park. He's been assistant coach at the start of the year, pulled the boots back on. Maybe they just saw something in the video. Perhaps this back three from the Butchers would prefer it high than low, as Gallen comes up quick there on Sirinen. Taking some metres off the statue there, and Sirinen looking for a penalty. He won't get it. Fletcher.
He's crafty, Fletcher, isn't he?
Isn't he? And he's got an absolute...
He'd have a ticker like Farlap.
He's absolutely thrown himself into this early on. He's, like we said, a former Tiger, and that's always a challenge for teams. As Willis, he was begging that to go into touch, and now he's going to get thrown in there. And, well, that was a nightmarish bounce there for Willis at the back, Johnny.
It sure was there. But what about the kick chase there? Led by Higgins, the kicker Fletcher, and then also Tommy Simpson. I honestly thought that ball would go over the sideline with ease there, but had to make a play for it. And the Butchers boys, you know, they say your kick's only good as a chase. Well, that was 5-star there from the Butchers. It puts them in great field position now. 10 metres out from the Tigers' try line. They're going to feed the scrum. A big chance here for the Butchers.
Yeah, poor Corey Willis there at the back. He was begging that to go into touch. He ended up having to play at it, walking a tightrope there. You could have nudged him into touch with the finger the way he ended up having to field that one. So we see the ball boys delivering the ball. Bit of a delay in that, but Fletcher now with the footy will feed the scrum. Walsh now. Higgins off his right foot. Off his right foot twice. He's crabbing back towards the post. Dangerous in these situations is Higgins, but he's dragged down there by Bailey and Williams. Johnson back on the inside for Sirinen. Sirenin barging his way into the in goal. He hasn't got the ball down. In fact, he hasn't even got into the in goal. Pulled up just short. Fletcher, long ball for Gallagher. Some numbers on this side, but he steps off the left foot, making his way back infield. Looking for support, and now he's surrendered in the tackle. That's a strange one from the Gladiator. Has he hurt himself there, or is he worried about an obstruction? I think it was the latter. As Gallagher now steaming onto this one. He's going to be hard to stop from there, and that'll be the second try. He said he looked like he was a bit hobbled before, but looking fresh again, steaming onto that one. And nice little work there from Jake Walsh. Just the inside ball, bringing him back against the grain. And one-on-one that close to the line, Jay Gallagher, near impossible to stop.
Yeah, you're not going to stop Jay Gallagher that close. First game back, and he's back on the try scorers list for the Thirroul Butchers. But good lead-up work there, wasn't it, from the Butchers? And Lee Higgins Blake Higgins, just real good going across the
Lee Higgins walking around here as a spectator.
He's just over here on the left.
So
Blakey Higgins there. Look, he just created a bit of frustration there for the Tigers' defensive line there, crabbing across field. I'd like to see him hit a bit of open space here today. But look, Jake Walsh just controlling that set of six there and allowing big Jay Gallagher just to go one-on-one with the fullback and score. Probably going to be his easiest try for the year there.
Still had a bit of work to do, but yes, indeed. I think the easiest one came in round one, the charge down, and he took off and
that's
scored,
right, he went all the way.
That might have been one of the easiest ones. You call that an effort play, though, so wouldn't dub that as easy. And 19 minutes gone, and just a mental battle here for the Tigers, Johnny, because it can sometimes be hard to realise as Tommy Simpson's nearly taken out the ground manager with a water bottle. He says sorry. That could have been a fine for Tommy Simpson on this side. That looked like a bomb getting lobbed. No harm done in the end, but a mental battle here, Johnny, for the Tigers. Sometimes when you're out there in the thick of things, you don't always know how in the game you are. It can feel like things are going against you, but in the arm wrestle and in the back and forth, they're faring quite well. The Tigers just hasn't shown on the scoreboard yet. If they need to really stick to it in this next 5 minutes,
they're
right
right
the challenge for them all year.
They're right in it.
Certainly are. As this is a high one from Williams, and a brave take there from Walsh. He had the defence bearing down on him. Ruskin. Met there by Gallen. Zahn, Thirroul and Bailey also involved in that tackle. Johnson now onto Tatawa. Tatawa, he's met well there in the defence again. It's Williams and Bailey. Now Sirenin in behind the ruck. That pass line ball. And that's a quick play, the ball from Sirenin, really getting his side on the front foot. And Walsh now the kick in behind. Willis going over to field it. And the bounce again, not that kind to the fullback, but he does well. And I think he stayed in the field of play there. And he has, and that was much needed, Johnny. It was hard to see the Tigers withstanding another onslaught on their own line.
Good kick chase there from the Butchers. Callum Tatawa leading the way, but great work there by the young number one, the spark plug there, Corey Willis, getting into the field of play. And the Berg only just getting behind the play of the ball now. So the Butchers really turned him over in that set.
That kicking game now, we talked about how badly he shanked his first kick, Jake Walsh, but he's been absolutely spot on since then and building pressure off the boot. Gallen now taking it up towards the 30. Drops it out the back there. And Williams almost had it taken off him there by Johnson, but Gallagher coming in to finish off the tackle. Aiken in behind the play. He's going to put this one as deep as he can. Bouncing ball now for Higgins. He reels that in without too much trouble. And now it's Tommy Simpson with a head of steam. And Zahn Thirroul slips off that tackle. Bailey in the end with the kicker Aiken making that tackle. And they'll start this set in good field position. The Butchers on their own 40-metre line. Crosland, that's another solid hit too. Atkinson with that shot. Johnson now onto Ruskin. Ruskin is up towards the Tigers 40. Getting through another set nicely again. Noble, second man for Walsh, back on the inside for Gallagher. He's met there by Nisbet.
They're starting to find a gear, Butchers.
You can just sense that they can feel it. Momentum in their favour, looking to twist the nice. Second man for Higgins. And they number up well in the end there. Dargan will come back infield. Dargan, he gets away from a couple of tackles there. Dargan, that fend, it's Greg Inglislock across the body. But they make the tackle just a metre in from touch. And now it'll be last tackle again, Walsh. This one, he might have just made it too big off the boot. And fielded well there by Stojanowski. And we were just giving him a rap for the kicking game. He probably just gave that one too big a nudge there, Johnny.
Yeah, a little bit of too much pepper on that kick from Walsh there. But good set of 6 from the Butchers up to that kick. I really liked that they're starting to throw it around the field, and they're really starting to go to their edges a lot. Dargan's getting involved. Gallagher's getting involved. I'd really like to see Callum Tatau get a little bit of early ball today. We know how dangerous he is.
And we see Tongahai just putting that one down, the forced offload. And, well, I won't repeat what we heard screamed out from the Helensburgh bench there. Not the play you want when you've absorbed the pressure they have and you're in your own end. Probably want to play the percentages there, Johnny.
Yeah, you sure do. You really need to work to your fifth tackle set there, fifth tackle options. You can't be throwing the ball around like that inside your own area. Behind on the scoreboard by 10, still 17 and a half minutes remaining in this first half. It's just allowing this Butchers outfit more time in Helensburgh's territory.
Indeed, they'll start this set on the 40. Perfect place to start a set. It's where all the coaches in the ball work sessions will get you to start.
He's a good size, this Arnold Wolf, isn't he?
Oh, he's a big boy, isn't he? Glad he's the type of bloke that makes you glad we're up here, Johnny, and not out there.
Ability brought me here, lack of.
Wayne Dargan, and that's a good tackle there from Walters. Fletcher at dummy half, and Simpson one-on-one here with McRae, and McRae does well down low. Fletcher, Johnson at first receiver, Noble, and Gallen.
That's not the first
Really
time I've seen Gallen come out of the line like that.
He's really trying to lead his side's line speed, Gallen. Throws himself into everything.
Noble's put his
Sirinen,
hand up.
That's a good contact again there. Thirroul, it was a bit of a size mismatch, Sirinen and Thirroul, but the 100-gamer
I think
makes
Noble
it stick
split
there, and I think the statue might have just copped that one under the ribs there as Gallagher. He trips, and I think it might have been a trip there from Russell Aiken. Accidental, it looked like. It didn't look like shoving the boot out, but he will get a talking to from the referee here.
He will do. The Butchers starting to use their interchange here. As we see Jack Nobles come off, he looked like a bit of a split beak there.
I think Rusco was about to come off and he's been set back. Oh, Rusco, it looks like it's going to be Gallagher just with that knee. He's been battling with it.
Well, not a bad replacement to come on.
Yes, he was Michael Henderson, Dapto captain, coach, premiership winner. More than 150 games of NRL. Not a bad bloke to just bring into your side late in the season, Johnny. He was first game against Corrimal last week.
What about him gracing the field there? Picks up a bit of dirt, rubs it between the two hands.
Mate, his first touch last week, he dead set. He was playing halfback.
The inside ball.
Dummied out, went back inside.
Lee Higgins, the benefactor of that.
Well, Lee Higgins isn't playing, Johnny.
Sorry, Blake Higgins.
You on that again. That's two. So that's two schooners you're owing over the bar. But it will be the Butchers to get things underway.
Well, yeah, so it looks like Russ Aiken's been given 10 in the bin here for that trip.
I think he has. So he's come to the sideline. I don't know how we missed that one, Johnny. A subtle signal there from the referee, but that is huge to have your number 7 forced to sit down. As I said, the boot did go out there, but it looked completely accidental to me on the run, and perhaps while we missed the referee's signal, we thought there wouldn't be too much in it. As from dummy half, the Butchers are going over again, so we talked about twisting the knife. Precisely what they have done there. It was Higgins there from dummy half.
Blake Higgins there from dummy half.
Said you wanted to see him in open space, Johnny. Well, not much open space there. He's gone straight through the front door. And Aiken, look, I think they're going to send him to the sheds. I don't think he's allowed to sit there on the bench, so it'll be a long walk for him. And, geez, this half becomes an uphill battle without their number 7 and leader, Johnny.
Yeah, it sure does there. And, look, from what we witnessed there, Russ Aiken, it looked like a little bit accidental there. He got caught up in the tackle there with Jay Gallagher just causing that trip. But the Tigers down to 12 now, 14 behind on the scoreboard. Their star player, their number 7, their general, going to spend 10 minutes in the sheds, and, well, it just makes that climb even more harder for the Helensburgh, doesn't it? And, look, I know we're only 15 minutes from the conclusion of this first half, but this top 4 battle and this for and against, it's got to be very, very crucial for the Helensburgh Tigers. They don't want to really let this one go much further.
No, indeed. They do have a pretty handy differential advantage over Dapto going into this one. Of course, they're playing Berkeley today. We'll keep you abreast of the scores as they come to hand. But it was decent, but it wasn't a huge advantage. Johnny could quickly be whittled away as Gallagher nails the extras there. So with 14 minutes to go, 16-0 the score.
Well, I've just had a text message come through from a viewer, Shane Jones, saying that Russ Aiken was sent off. Not
Sent
10,
off?
Not 10 in the bin.
I thought he'd been given... Well, there you go, sent.
Sent.
Good to see we're on the ball up here, Johnny. I don't know who the viewer is, but I bet it reminds with Gilco.
No, it wasn't. It was Shane Jones, a Thirroul stalwart.
The rule stalwart. So he's been sent.
Been sent.
Well, that's a huge... That is huge indeed. So very much an uphill battle from here for the Tigers. Johnson. And well, I'm sure, hard to say, Johnny, we saw it on the fly and only for a moment without the benefit of replays and the like that I'm sure the match review panel and the like will look at. But did it look like a send-off offence to you, Johnny, on the run?
Well, I think we've missed half of what's actually happened because we just watched the contact and just thought a bit of accidental there.
Indeed we have. So now it's Henderson. Up over halfway. Gallagher. We just saw there on the bench, Johnny, we saw the Helensburgh bench looking to us for some clarification. I saw the crowd all here turning around and looking at us. I wasn't sure what they were.
Gav Lennon shot out Petty. Petty, what's happened?
But ultimately, it is a send-off. That'll be the reality for the rest of the afternoon. A 12-men lineup. Ruskin taking it up towards the 10. Fletcher, second man for Higgins out the back. He just has to wait on the pass slightly, but some numbers. Higgins, he's getting close, dragged down from behind there by McRae. That tackle had to be made. Dargan now, flat ball for Henderson. He's got a sniff of the try line.
Wouldn't have even loved a meat pie.
Love to get across Hendo. That'll be about his second or third touch. Dargan now onto Fletcher. Nisbet just dropping off that tackle. Eventually made there by Williams. And Johnson from dummy half, dangerous from there. Pulled down just in front of the left-hand upright. Higgins, Dargan, he's kicking that back towards the post where every one of his teammates were offside. That was a bizarre kick, and now Stojanovski does well end on the counter-attack. Johnny, I don't think they've practiced that one at training.
I don't think that was on the tip sheet for Jared Costello there, but it come off Dargan's boot like a rocket, didn't it?
Well, he's back behind the line. Every one of his chases, he nearly hit Joel Johnson dead on. He had to jump out of the way. Interesting one. Had shades of Ben Hunt, Paul Vaughan for the Dragons last night, trying to jump back onside.
First time we've seen Joel Johnson scoot out of dummy half today.
He does wait. He likes to get his side, gets his forwards into it early on, getting on the ball, and then at about this stage of the game is when he does start to look, as we see another mistake from the Tigers coming out of trouble. Just again, a product of the pressure and the line speed. There was Gallen there. Unfortunate for him, he's certainly throwing everything into what he's doing this afternoon. Johnny trying to lead his side against what is a very vaunted forward pack for the Butchers.
He's leading it well as well. His line speed and his one-on-one contact, that first contact, it's been a feature for the Helensburgh Tigers. He just needs a few more of his Indians around him to really step up and do the same.
Now to Tower with some of that early ball you were hoping for, Johnny, and he goes off his right foot. Tongahai making the tackle. It actually looks like Tongahai has been playing in the centres with Nisbet in the back row over on that side. Sirinen. The offload out the back for Johnson. Off his right foot, Johnson. And the Butchers just went to sleep on that play. Not much support for the hooker. So it will be Sirinen in there at dummy half. On to Walsh. Second man, Fletcher. The offload to Duggan. That's a beautiful pass from Fletcher. He's got some space in it. He had Tommy Simpson on the outside. He dummies. I think Tommy Simpson would have backed himself to get over in the corner there, but Duggan taking the tackle. Whitty. On to Fletcher. Henderson. Henderson finds his front. Plays it to Johnson. Johnson double pump on the pass to Walsh. Higgins with some space. Skips to the outside. Dummies. Dummies again from Tongahai and Crosland for the corner, and he'll cross. Untouched out there. Well, Hayden Crosland, he won't score many easier tries from there. The work from Blake Higgins in the lead-up. Beautifully done. And we were just saying, Johnny, Tongahai on that side looks like he's playing in the centres with Nisbet on his inside, and just some early ball out the back there. Higgins, he just did him for pace there. As we said, normally playing in the back row. It was a speed mismatch. Higgins just skips to the outside and Hayden Crosland, as good wingers do, hugging the chalk and crossing out wide.
Yeah, he hugged the chalk well then, Crosland. But what about the speed from Higgins? He just left the defensive line flat-footed and backed his own ability there. Got one-on-one with the Tigers winger, and Hayden Crosland scores his first four-pointer for today. And look, coming off a big game last week, Hayden Crosland, playing at 6 last week, back in his preferred position. Out on the picket swing. Well, not preferred, where he fits in this side.
Where his comfortable position is and where he's played a lot of footy. The way he played in the number 6 last week, I'd start to think that's probably his preferred position.
What a luxury they've got, the Butchers, but to have someone, your winger, come in and be able to play number 6 throughout the season.
Well, I think you called him Matt Geyer on the podcast.
He's the Matt Geyer.
I've always thought Hayden Crosland had a lot of Stephen Bell about him in his running style and that sort of awkward stop-start. Doesn't seem that quick, but just seems to get away from people. He's got a lot of Stephen Bell about him.
He's got that ability to beat the first man, doesn't he?
He always seems to do it. He just slips it. It's a strange one. You don't always know how he manages to do it, but he does.
We talk about this back three with Thirroul a lot. We talk about Higgins. We talk about Simpson and Crosland. I mean, we've given Tommy Simpson some big raps this season, bringing the ball out of his own area. But Crosland's he's doing the exact same job on the other side of the field as well.
Yeah, he does. It's a very bankable back three that Jared Costello does have at his disposal. And just a bit slower coming up for this restart. You just sense that try, Johnny. The shoulders just dropped a little bit.
Well, I think once Russ Aiken got his marching orders, that really dropped the spirits of the Helensburgh Tigers.
Not just for losing your number 7, but he's the experienced head out there and their leader. So the send-off big, and particularly in the context of where the Tigers are sitting in the finals race, Johnny.
Be interesting to see what comes out of it on Wednesday at the Judiciary.
We see some bizarre things in the call, but to think a 12-man Butchers against 12-man Tigers rather against the league-leading Butchers come back, overhaul this deficit with 12 men and win, it'd be a remarkable thing to see the odds low on it.
What about that carry there from Henderson?
He's steamy onto it, isn't he? But it's a decision, no doubt, the club will look at. Captain, or rather Coach Gav Lennon, and his staff will have a bit of a look at and could well end up feeling aggrieved by. It's Higgins. Tackled dead centre of the park, just short of the 40-metre line, and they'll go to Walsh again. This one's high. It's a torpedo bomb there. It's going to be a tough one there from Willis. He looks like he's all around, and he catches it on his fingertips. Made it look easy in the end. I wouldn't say he was in the front pocket for the Sydney Swans because he's too short to be like that. But
in the under-10s.
He made that look very, very easy, catching that on the fingertips. He has a habit of making the difficult look very, very easy, doesn't he, Corey Willis?
He did very well there, Corey Willis. Could have gone anywhere. Another towering bomb there from
I think we've just seen another mistake now from Nisbet there. And these really are starting to rack up Johnny. Gav Lennon, he's still got the hat on his head, but you wonder how long it'll be until it hits the turf.
It'll be ping-ponged around in that little dugout in front of him where the bench is. But, look, the Tigers, they're their own worst enemies at the moment, bringing that ball out of their own area. They keep coughing up the football inside their own 30 or 40 metres, and it's just allowing these Butchers to play all the game down in the Helensburgh Tigers area. Once the Berg come down into the Thirroul's area, they're looking like a good, nice little football team. We've seen in that first opening 10 minutes of the game, they were going set for set and matching it. They need to get back to that grind.
As we see now, Fletcher onto Higgins, Dargan, well, he throws off on a Walters there, like swatting a fly. I haven't seen a lot of that Fen this year, but certainly deceptively strong Wayne Dargan in the way he's causing havoc for defenders on this edge. Gallagher now takes it up over the 20. He'll play it slower than he would have liked. Johnson dummies on the inside now for Walsh. Flat ball there for Sirenan, and he'll just stroll through a gaping hole there and put the ball down one-handed. And there's another try, and that one was just a little bit too easy, Johnny.
Yeah, well too easy there from the Butchers. Great ball there from Jake Walsh. And onto Damien Sirenan's chest. And he just had fresh air in front of him, the statue. Scores his first try for the day. And they're just dominating up the middle off the back end of mistakes from the Tigers.
And we see that margin widen with 4 minutes to go before half-time. I think they really just need to get to the break and regroup here, Johnny, not concede any more points. And as we said, the result may already be put to bed here at this stage, but for and against, such a huge factor for the Tigers in this finals race. I'm sure it's something Gav Lennon will remind his squad of in at half-time.
Well, we went cross-eyed the other week trying to work out where they all sit and for and against and everything like that. But for and against for the Tigers and sides like Dapto is very, very crucial. They won't want to let this scoreline blow out.
Indeed. Well, when we looked at the algorithm we'd somehow come up with, Johnny, I think the consensus between both of us was, you can never really predict too much. You assume you make an ass of you and me, as they say, but I think the way we looked at it, we predicted Dapto and Helensburgh to finish equal on 12 points on the competition ladder, and it come down to for and against. So it's something they will certainly need to be reminded of there at half-time, although with 12 men, it can make things very, very difficult to turn back the tide.
And we haven't seen Arnold Wolf grace the field again for a long time. We've seen him warming up and down here, so it might be another one with a bit of a niggling injury there that quite possibly can't take the field. And wouldn't that be a blow for the Helensburgh Tigers if he can't get back on the pitch?
And Walsh coming forward to field that one, Ruskin. He'll take it up to the 20 and driven backwards there, Ruskin. Some numbers in that tackle from the Tigers. Looking to produce a strong finish to this opening stanza. Sirenin, the try scorer. He takes it up to the 30. And now Henderson. Henderson, there's some purpose in the way Henderson's going about his business, although that's some good contact there from Williams. Whitty up towards halfway. Johnson onto Ruskin. Some footwork from
What about the Evergreens footwork?
Rusco. There he goes. That's a throwback to his days as a fullback. He'll play it on halfway. And Walsh again putting this one high to be a tester for Stojanovski. And he takes that well. Well, Stojanovski, how impressive has he been, Johnny?
Solid.
In what's been a tough opening 40 minutes, he's been outstanding on the wing.
He's been very good on that left-hand picket swing there for the Tigers. His return of the ball has been sensational. Defensively, he has been very good out there. There's been a couple of key players for the Tigers that have played very well. It's just their mistakes, Mitch, that I feel are letting the side down.
Yeah, indeed. Mistakes and discipline. That'll be top of the list for Gav Lennon at half-time. As they look to get through this set. And hard to remember, Johnny, now how long it's been since they got through a set and just got to a kick on the end of it. It's been a bit of an easier day at the back there for this back three that we did talk about from the Butchers. And that one, Higgins fulfilled on his own 20 and bring it back. He's looking to counter Higgins. He skips to the outside around Tonga again. He's into some space, Higgins. Tonga coming for a second effort at him. And Higgins there hit and spin. That's a good kick return from the fullback. Starting to feel his way right into this one. Johnny, we said we haven't seen him in a whole lot of open space this year, but last week, a double last week, and one of them from long range really got the afterburners on. Looks like it's done wonders for his confidence. Fletcher now to Dargan. This battle out here is going to continue with Walters. He had the arm free, and that's hit the deck. So this time it's the Butchers not getting through a set.
You go back to Blake Higgins. He was playing halfback last year for Corrimal. He came to the Thirroul club this year. A good halves pairing with Walsh and Fletcher. Couldn't really fit into that 6 or 7. So Jared Costello put him to fullback. First full year at fullback, and each week we're just watching him develop into a better player.
He's also a former Helensburgh Tiger, I believe. Blake Higgins as well. So he's drifted around a little bit, but certainly found a home this year in the number 1. Mind you, if you're looking for a bit of a model, you could probably just take a look out of the Older Brothers book and see the way he's gone, been outstanding in his campaigns with Thirroul. Now moving on to the higher levels as Willis almost poking his head through the other side.
That was the statue onto the spark plug then.
Statue on the spark plug. Well, it looks like the spark plug's come off second best in it. He really has been probably their best player this season, Johnny. I'll have a player of the year at the end of the year, as all clubs do. I think Corey Willis will be right in that reckoning for the Tigers, and he looks like he's going to shrug that knock off as well. Tonga High over there on that side. The offload for Stojanovski. He's making his way back in field. He takes it over the 40. And the Tigers, time ticking down here. 13 seconds left on the clock. They're going to try to mount something here by the looks of things. And some numbers on this short side again. McRae onto Walters. Walters off his right foot, but Dargan making the tackle, and that will be half time. So 26-0 the score after the opening 40.
Score in first grade.
And the Tigers, they'll be a man down now. 12 men to come back in the second half with it all to do. 26-0 down. And obviously the send-off of Russell Aiken will be telling. And so that will be halftime. 26-0 the score. The Tigers down to 12 men with it all to do. We'll be back with the second 40 minutes in just a little while. Welcome back to Rex Jackson Oval. The Butchers making their way back onto the park. 26-0 to the good. And just to the viewers at home, we'll put our hands up and we'll owe you an apology with the send-off we saw earlier in the match. We just did the benefit of the halftime break, had a bit of a look back over at Johnny, and we were watching the substitutions happening on the bench, because as we said, on the fly, it looked like a somewhat innocuous shot there that had Jay Gallagher hitting the deck, but had a bit of a look over at Johnny, and it looked a 50-50, half accidental, or perhaps the hint of sticking a boot out. We won't make too much of a judgment on it, of course. That'll be looked to by people with decision-making powers, but it did result in Jay Gallagher coming from the park, Johnny, on that bung knee. So the Butchers would probably no doubt look at it as a bit of an eye for an eye situation.
Well, he's got some strapping on that right knee now, doesn't he? Jay Gallagher, as you see, the Butchers onto the field for the second half.
Before the record, if you are joining us, Russell Aiken, Helensburgh halfback, sent from the field for tripping. So the Tigers will have to do this second 40 with just the 12 men. Look at that, making his way over Zach Lomax. Do you reckon they get a jersey on him if they end up coming a couple of men down?
Well, we've seen him with a Butchers jersey on.
We have, absolutely, mate. It was a memorable clash. He was 16 that day against the Devils, playing for the Butchers, and I remember saying, well, this kid's certainly something special, and we're seeing that now at the absolute highest level.
Mitch Bate
in the NRL.
giving him a few tips for next week.
Mitch Bate, you reckon he is? Yeah, maybe some goal-kicking advice?
Yep.
Yeah. Could be what he's doing. He won't be doing a lot of that with Gareth Widdop back. But
how good was Widdop's strike last night?
It was funny. I was saying in the box there, and I had a bit of a chat to Mary after the game as well, and said he's just the type of player. When he had that kick from way out on the side, a metre in from touch, 30 metres out, I said, I'll put my house on it that he'll kick this, because he's just that type of player. He was outstanding, though not enough to get the Dragons over the line last night in that heartbreaker. But it will be Gallagher to get us back underway in this one.
Haven't seen Jack Noble come out from the sheds at half time. We know he went off with that busted nose, so the Butchers might be back down to 16 here.
Mate, isn't the modelling career taking a dent for Jack Noble this year? He's had some stitches along the way. Now a busted schnoz. He's going to have to give it away there. He won't be on the front of GQ anytime soon.
No. His old man might be. His old man's got a fresh set of teeth.
He does. I know, don't they look good, the pearly whites. So it will be the Tigers to get this one back and away, and that's some good first up contact there from Sirinen. Some purpose in that carry, though, as Tongahai coming in from the edge. You love that look, Johnny. I love it. Socks down, but skins up.
Yeah.
It's a great look, that one, isn't it? As Nisbet takes it up towards the 30. I was always a socks man in my day, Johnny. Socks down.
No, I haven't pulled up. Socks up.
I didn't like the cramping when you tape it up. I preferred to have them down and
I didn't get enough match time to get the
cramp. Well, there you go. As McRae across to Atkinson. Some expansive footy early on here. Walters met there by Dargan on that edge. So they go side to side, coast to coast in this first set, the Tigers. And McRae puts this one high. And this will be a tester for Higgins. He reels it in. And that's something they might like to do a bit more of in this half as well, Johnny. Just give the back three a little bit more work to do and just test them out a little bit more with the kick selection.
We know how dominant the back three are for Thirroul. They've been a little bit reluctant to give that to Thirroul, to allow that back three to do a bit of work, because we've seen them this season bring that football up the paddock so well. But they've got to try something, the Tigers. They've really got to try and find this back three to have an error in them. We know Tommy Simpson has got a couple of errors in his game. Maybe he should start kicking to that side.
And now a penalty against the side in possession. Michael Ford having none of that. Play the ball, so the arm goes up the other way, and some good fortune straight away for the Tigers, and he's going to have a chat to someone straight away. Joel Johnson, the skipper. Has it been a Butchers player, perhaps with a bit to say here?
Well, it was Luke Gallagher that got up to play the ball.
Okay, you reckon the Gladiators just...
I think the Gladiator might have had a bit of
unleashed hell,
yeah.
so to speak. So it's a penalty for an incorrect play the ball in the end.
Jacko will be filthy on that one, wouldn't he?
We see about one a week, don't we, in the competition? We see about one a week. It's barely a team Don't know which team it'll be every week, but we do see at least one. I can't recall a game this year where I haven't seen at least one penalty for not using the foot in the play the ball. As Thirroul still slipping out of tackles.
Good carry from the 100-gamer.
Yeah, he's 10 metres out, directly in front of the black dot. And that's O'Toole, and he's earned a penalty as well there. The marker's not square. So just to start this half, it's the Butchers just a little bit lax in their discipline.
Gav Leonard would like one here, wouldn't he?
Oh, they can peg it back straight away to give themselves any chance, and
It'd
you
boost
can't
their
come out. You
confidence.
can't come out here just chasing the win from the start. You're not going to score a 26-point try, but you've just got to try to build momentum in patches. Take it, in little 5-minute stretches at a time. If they can peg back a try and just make somewhat of a game of it, and as we said, for and against a factor, and some momentum to take into next week as well. As Nisbet goes close there, perhaps closer than he was entitled to. Whitty dumping him on his back. And a flat ball there for Thirroul, and that's a great tackle from Sirinen. Thirroul, we know he's slippery, and I think Sirinen might have even... No, he gives the ball back. I think he liked his chances of a one-on-one there, but Thirroul plays it. O'Toole, the offload for Stojanovski. And some numbers in the tackle for the rule. That'll lock the ball up.
He deserves a 4-pointer if anyone.
Oh,
there
doesn't
for the
he?
Tigers.
And a dummy there at dummy half from Williams. And I think that might have been the last tackle it was. So some promising signs there early on, but a meek end to the set, Johnny.
Yeah, sure it was. I'm just looking down at Gav Lennon there in the coach's dugout there. He'd be absolutely filthy on that last tackle there. They really needed to opt for a repeat set, or at least put a little bit more pressure on the Butchers' goal line defence there. A little bit of a misread there from Williams in an acting half.
Although the way the game has gone in the last little stretch, giving the ball back to the Butchers a metre out from their own line and making them do the hard yards out of it, not the absolute worst scenario for them.
No, definitely not there. There's a lot of green grass in front of the Butchers now.
As Tommy Simpson takes it up towards the 10, and he'll go beyond that. He's edging his way up towards the 20, Simpson. And now the ball comes out. So another mistake from the Butchers, and not the start they were looking for. Tommy Simpson appealing for a penalty not forthcoming.
Well, I just said moments ago Tommy's got a mistake in his game. So sorry, Tommy, if I've put the mock on you there, but there we go. It just gives that Tigers outfit 6 tackles up their sleeve, 20 metres out from the Butchers' try line. They've been camped down here for the past few minutes. So
Seen Lukey Gallagher coming to the sideline.
It really
I don't think it was the Shepherd's hook. Surely one bad play the ball. You'd have to be the harshest of taskmasters, Jared Costello. I think he's just getting a spell. And we saw Jay Gallagher coming back to the bench with the knee strapped. I think he'll be wrapped in cotton wool, Johnny, you would think, with some bigger games to come. And, of course, the huge one next week, Thirroul and West at Parish Park. Butchers, though, can't afford to look at that one just yet. Still a bit of work to do in this one.
We see Riley Lord warming up for the Butchers on the sideline.
Williamson, McRae has to go down to gather that one in. Thirroul, been in the thick of things to start the second stanza. He's a metre out. And now a penalty again. What's this one for? Tackled off the ball is the call, so a whistle-happy start to this second half.
Yeah, referee Michael Ford just wants to stamp a bit of authority and make sure the P's still rolling around in that whistle.
So the Tigers with a chance. It'll be huge if they can just grab some points here early on, Johnny, as you said. McRae, second man for Willis. Long ball out there for Peachy, and it just goes behind him, and that'll go rolling into touch.
Not the pill that needed to be thrown. It didn't need to be a cutout ball there. All he had to do was go through the hands, and it was 3-on-3. Didn't have to create much there, but they're trying these pressure passes. They've got to work their way to points. They can't just score off every play.
And it's been the story of their season, Johnny. We've said it so often when they've been in the battle. A bit of a kick and hope, a pass and hope type play. The frustration creeps in, and a low percentage play comes up and comes back to haunt them.
That first 15 minutes of the game, they looked like a top 3 side.
They did, absolutely. And they've done that for so long this year, but just in those short stretches, as we've touched on at the top, and as we've touched on several times through the season when discussing their finals prospects. And that might be a penalty there, no. I'll say play on. Ruskin dumped on his back there. Henderson now taking it up to the 40-metre line. Johnson dummies, blindside comes open. Walsh dummies. And I think it's almost just about the first time we've seen Jake Walsh tackle Johnny, which I think both of us don't really like to see. We like to see him tuck the ball under the arm and run when he can. Speaking of that, Joel Johnson hitting Ryan Fletcher. And it is strange, Johnny. We've just seen Walshy just put the running game away a little bit through the middle part of the season. And Sirenen's ripped that one straight out of the arms of Stojanovski. What are they going to say here? And, well, I think the penalty might be for...
in front of the kicker.
I don't think he said offside, though, Johnny. Or has he said no? They'll say in front. You're right, Johnny.
Yeah.
You've steered me on the right course there. I thought it was for tackled in the air.
Yeah, that's what I
thought.
thought.
How can you be tackled in the air if you've taken the ball? But no, in front of the kicker. The touchies and referee Michael Ford all over that one.
Joel Ruskin getting a well-earned break. Riley Lord onto the field for the Butchers. He put a big stint in Rusco, hasn't he?
He did, mate. He played 35 minutes straight last week against the Cougars. Smart move there from Jared Costello to really get some running in the veterans' legs. That'll benefit him as the big games come down the stretch. Nisbet now taking it up towards the 30. Willis, McRae, long ball there, and it's just gone out the back there. Walters, Dargan diving on it, and they'll say double knock on. First one off the Tigers. So, again, a forgettable end to that set, Johnny, and just really struggling to maintain pressure here.
Well, mistakes starting to creep into the game. It just slows down this game of rugby league. And another mistake there from the Tigers. They just got to complete their sets. Their completion rate will be absolutely horrendous.
Well, I spoke to Lachlan Peachy, the skipper, through the week for our Taste of Steel podcast, and he said then, I think our completions are the worst in the comp, and I don't know if that's officially the case, but
it is now.
It does seem that way. It's just been something, and now, well, the mistakes creeping in everywhere.
That was young Aaron Schopp, his first touch of the football for the day. He's just had a look at the defensive line and dropped the pill.
Well, Johnny, we know the score, 26-0 the score at half-time, coming out against a 12-man Tigers. Perhaps the intensity just dropping for the Butchers a little bit, and the 9 minutes of this second half, they're not the best 9 minutes you'll see this year.
No, they're not. I tell you what the best is. Have a go at Peter Gallen, strapping job on his head here at the bench for the Tigers warming up.
He's got the both, doesn't he? He's got the tape around the ears, then around the chin. I like it. He's got the full Hannibal Lecter going there.
Good contact.
Very good contact underneath there. It was Jared Whitty. Not much of him, but as we see so often, he can really hit and stick in tackles. Tatawa now making that tackle on Tongahai as well. Thirroul. Light stepping with a number 8 on his back. He'll play at 8 metres out. Willis at first receiver. Dummies Willis, goes off his right foot. Tackled well there by Whitty, who might have copped a bit of a boot in the breadbasket there. And a kick onto the ground. And I think they've got it down over on that side. They have. Nahana Walters claiming the try. Beautiful, beautiful grubber there from Mitch McRae. And just as we said, the game looking a bit lifeless there. That will bring it to life. Mitch McRae just nudged that in behind. I'm not sure where Blake Higgins was in relation to that kick, but Nahana Walters coming through and planting that one down. And just like that, we've got a game, Johnny.
Well, they needed to score, didn't they? They've been down in Butchers territory for predominantly most of this second half. They've really started to pepper the Butchers defensive line there. They couldn't crack it. They had the weight of possession down there, and finally they score. And Nahana Walters on that right-hand attacking side for the Tigers crosses for their first try for the day. They need a lot more of that, don't they, Mitch? They need not to try and score off every play. They need to work to their tail end of their sets and really put pressure on this Butchers defensive line. They need to hold the ball and get their completion rate up.
Well, Johnny, if there were going to be any chance, as we said, coming out with 12 men, you could expect the Butchers with a 26-0 lead may have just had a little bit of a drop in intensity, struggled to get the energy up to start this one. And so the Tigers needed to start well, and it looks like they have come out with slightly more intensity than their rivals, and they knew they had to score first and really set the tone early if they were going to make a game of it. They've done that through the first 4-pointer of the second half.
They sure have. And look, just looking over to the right, Jack Noble, he's been changed and he's got a wealth of claret coming out of his nose there still from that contact in the first half, so we won't see him back onto the field. Jared Whitty limping off the field down in back play there. Looks like he's nursing an injury.
There's Willis. Oh, that kick's waved away, so 26-4 remains the score.
The casualty ward for both sides.
There is, isn't it? There's been a few injuries picked up. I don't know if Lukey Gallagher coming to the sideline was as a result of an injury.
No.
He's not. I see him down the bench there. He's not iced up or anything like that, so might just be a case of wanting to give some of his other men a bit of a chance there. I think is it Aaron Schopp who's gone out there to play on that edge.
Yeah, Aaron Schopp's out there. You'd like to see him get a bit of ball.
Indeed, you would. And it looks like Damien Sirinen playing as the right edge back rower on this side in the absence of Jay Gallagher. Pierce Thompson, hasn't he come in with a head of steam in the second half? He doesn't know what the score is. He's just steaming onto it and throwing himself into everything as Tonga High goes blindside, takes it up to the 30-metre line. And he might have just picked up an injury. We mentioned the casual ward, Johnny, and he's looking in a bit of trouble here, Tonga High. Whether it's a knee or an ankle on that left side.
Left knee.
Looks like the knee. And just when they were building some momentum, a bit of a stoppage.
Might see Arnold Wolf come back onto the field for the Tigers. We see him attempting to come onto the field a few times in that first half.
It was strange, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was a long stint he had.
Warming up.
Long stint he had on the bench, but looks like he is going to come on as the replacement here on this edge for Tonga High. Let's hope it's nothing too serious because, as we've said, Johnny, still, regardless of this result today, the Tigers, they came in with a 2-point buffer over Dapto in that race for 4th spot. So some plenty of big games to come, but there'll be some issues to worry about. Tonga High, he's been very good for Helensburgh all year. They'll hope he won't miss any footy if this is a somewhat serious injury. And, of course, they'll have some judiciary worries to look at with Russell Aitken, which we've talked about plenty.
You don't want to see injuries at any time of the season, but coming into the tail end of the season, semi-finals just around the corner, you need your big players to be there. And he's been one of their big players.
He has been
fringe.
Certainly one of their best players all year, Tonga High, and he will come from the park, that knee. Not something you can carry on with, so Arnold Wolf injected into the action. Now I'm just trying to chase a score in the other match there, and it is Berkeley 10, Dapto 4 at half-time there at Berkeley Sports Ground. So
we said they could be the Giant Killers.
They could be the Giant Killers, and Helensburgh have Berkeley next week as well, so could certainly be the case for them. That ball dumped out the back, taking a deflection there. I think it'll be play on there. Peachy with some space, and Aaron Shop clinging to the jumper there, brings him down. McRae back on the inside for Atkinson. Now it's Thirroul. Thirroul off his left foot. Testing them out back through the middle. Williams at dummy half. McRae dummies. Tackled there by Johnson, dumped on his back there as well with the assistance of Shop. Willis dummies. Crabbing back in field. Long pass there for Thirroul. There you go. The statue. He comes in and he was like a dead weight there. There's Thirroul. He might be fondly recalling his days on the wing after that one. And that will be 6 again for the Tigers. So he wears it well, Thirroul. Peachy with some space on that side. And I'll tell you what, Johnny, things become very interesting if the Tigers can put another 4-pointer on here. 26-4 the score. Thirroul, he's recovered well from that one, but Sirinen in there in that tackle as well. Don't know if Azan owes the statue some money or something there. I'm not sure, but he didn't miss him on that one as Wolf now. Wolf, the freshman on the park, still going Wolf. And he's looking to reach out there. He holds onto it, but he's only a metre short. Williams. And Williams from dummy half. I think he's barged up. They'll say knock on. He put that down to the last-ditch effort there from Blake Higgins. He was all alone there at marker, and Williams looking to barge his way into the in goal. Just might have spilt that one. I thought he might have got it down, but as they get up, not a lot of protests coming from the Tigers side of things, so Michael Ford, he was right on top of that one.
Would have put a scare into the Butchers' camp if they were able to score that 4-pointer close to the sticks. It could have been a 6-pointer there. It would have gone 26-10, and it would have really put a bit more into this game. The Tigers, they really need to start going down the field, holding onto this ball. They're looking good in patches, as their whole season has, but they need to do it more consistently.
And doing a good job of pegging back the margin if they can put a couple more tries on the park as Shop takes it up over the 10. Henderson with a head of steam. Takes it over his own 20 and plays it. A good quick play, the ball there from the veteran. Crosland. He takes it up to the 30, or rather the 40. They're just short of halfway now, the Butchers. Riley Lord steaming onto this one. And he just gets dumped on his back there, Riley Lord. Didn't go past the horizontal. As Walsh now, he'll look for the corner in this one. Willis coming across and he fields it well. Covers good ground to get to that one, Willis.
He gets over the ground well, doesn't he,
He
Corey
does.
Willis?
He really skips across.
It's like he glides over it.
Yeah, he's very, very quick on his feet. Perhaps a little bit of Matt Duffy about him as Ash Nisbet making very tough yards out of his own end there. Sirinen and Tatawa making the tackle. Wolf now onto Gallen with the Hannibal Lecter style tape. And he's driven backwards there. That's good defence from Johnson. Michael Henderson as well. And I think he's dropped that in trying to play at Gallen, so that was just a bit of a comedy of errors there. And
he just tried to overplay his hand there a little bit, didn't he, Gallen? Tried to get that quick play the ball after getting forced back there, but great
we do
work
see
from
it
Joel
fairly
Johnson.
often, don't we? We see players, they've just copped a big knock or they've copped, they've lost some metres. They try to mitigate the damage with a quick play the ball and just get a bit ahead of themselves, as Gallen did right there. And now it's the Butchers for the first time in this half starting a set inside the Tigers' red zone.
It's been 16 minutes into this second half. We haven't seen the Butchers down here as of yet. It's been all Helensburgh down the other end of the field.
Has been, as Johnson from the back of the scrum. Second man now for Dargan.
Where's this fend come from Dargan?
I know, I haven't seen it all year. He must have been saving it for the finals, perhaps, as he's really warming it up now.
Might have been watching a couple of GI replays during the week or something, thinking,
Well,
I can do that.
It's GI like, it's across the body. Stronger than I probably gave him credit for most of the year. As we see Lord now, that's a good settler from the young prop. He'll play at 9 metres out, directly in front of the black dot. Walsh onto Siren, and he's got support. Higgins, and that's a good read there by Stojanovski. Well, we've wrapped him a couple of times, Johnny, and that's another faultless effort defensively. Read that beautifully. The ball and all tackle to stop that raid in his tracks. Ruskin looking for the line, and I think he spilled it. And now it is that man, Stojanovski, coming away with the ball, and they'll say the advantage not taken.
He got one last week, Rusco, did he?
I think he did, yeah, from close range. So
he got off the nudie run last week. He was looking for his second meat pie of the year.
I think he reached out. I don't think he needed to. I think he might have ended up there as it was, but
might have
just
been the old
to promote the footy, and it just spills.
The old front rowers club putting the mock on him there that close to the line.
Yeah, he could have
thinking
been.
You can't have two for the season.
Mate, they wouldn't hear the end of it, would they? I don't know what the tally is on the front row tries for the Butchers this year. Who's in front? I think it may be the statue.
He'd have to be.
I think he's grabbed a couple. That'd be on the fly, what I'd be thinking. And Lachlan Peachy almost overran Willis there. And then the ball's come out, and I think that was a penalty any day of the week. I don't know what Aaron Schott was thinking there. That's a bad penalty, Johnny. It's just a straight piggyback. It was never going to be anything other than a penalty there. And just like that, that pressure valve released.
Very all discipline there from Aaron Schott, taking that strip. Didn't need to be played. Just piggybacks the Berg out of their own area and puts them predominantly close to the halfway line. Nice carry there from
That's
Wolf.
a
But what
carry.
about the contact from Statue?
There you go. That's what I said. Like I said, Johnny, it makes you relieve we're up here in the Helensburgh media box and not down there on the park wearing that. You can
sore
leave
bodies
me right out
tomorrow
of it.
morning, wouldn't there?
It's funny, yeah, even as the score lined a bit of a gap in it, the bodies will be sore in Gallen, and they'll say no. A deflection there, Gallen attempting the offload, and Joel Ruskin the knockdown, so it will be back-to-back sets again for the Tigers as they look to continue their fight back into this one.
Haven't seen many interchanges in this second half, have we? I don't know if that's because there's not many fresh players left on either bench.
Well, I think it's been quite a stop-start half, Johnny. It hasn't been a frenetic pace like it was in that opening 20 minutes.
It's not free-flowing, is it, like that first half?
Most of the players out there, you know, you'd expect a bit more from them as a coach if they were really sucking in the big ones under these circumstances. But the Tigers probably just had slightly more energy in this one, and there it is, just like that. Well, not just the story of their afternoon, Johnny, the story of their year thus far. Mistakes, golden opportunity to try to put something together there, mount another set, and the ball hits the deck.
It's a couple of their key players as well that are making those little 1% errors there. Your guys like, as we've seen, Kurt Atkinson, we've seen Ash Nisbet, Arnold Wolf, those guys. The guys you want to see stand up week in, week out.
Doesn't it become the case at times? It's been frustrating the way they've got through certain games. And sometimes your big guns, they can really over-try to get you back into it. And we're just seeing a little bit of that. Peter Gallant before, and Atkinson in this one. Just when you're trying so hard to get your side back into it, you can just lose a little bit of attention to detail, as Atkinson did right there. Henderson now gets away from the tackles, Henderson.
He hasn't played this many minutes for a few seasons, has he?
It's been a while, not back-to-back, and now no, they'll say penalty, and we'll... I think...
Which way are you going on that one?
Hendo got up and had a bit of a grin about it. I think he knows he completely got away with one there.
To his credit, he's put it on the size 16 and gone again.
Oh, he's gone again, but I tell you what, that's a harsh one for mine. And that's a beautiful ball there. Shop steamy onto that one. Willis coming across, but he won't get near Shop. Beautiful ball there from Fletcher. And just look back behind here, Johnny. We've got McRae and Atkinson both left in the wake there of Aaron Shop. Only a teenager, but steaming onto that one beautifully. And Corey Willis was back here on the play. Even if he hadn't got there, he'd have taken some stopping.
What a ball there it was from number 6, Ryan Fletcher. Knowing that Aaron Shop was just going to run that perfect line. Look, I rap Aaron Shop a lot with his rugby league, but that just goes to show an 18-year-old running a line like that, knowing that your 5'8's going to deliver a pool like that, that's just great communication between your 6 and your outside back. Once he hit some open space there, Aaron Shop, there was no catching him. Yeah. Poor little Corey Willis. He didn't want to have a bar of it.
I think he would have tried. He put his body on the line if he could get there. But Shoppy, he's got plenty of pace to go with the big frame. He scores the try there. And Ryan Fletcher, well, he's without a doubt been the best player on the park this afternoon.
He's been good. He's been real good. Next Tiger, we've seen him run around with the Tigers last season there. He's been up in that Canterbury Cup, New South Wales Cup system last season with the Dragons, playing a few games with them. Found a home at Thirroul this season. But he's one of those guys, he's like a Blake Higgins, where he's playing a little bit out of position this season.
Yeah, well, he's a number 9.
He's a number 9,
yeah.
Probably. And, but when you've got the best number 9 in the competition in front of you, you've got to make room for Ryan Fletcher, as what they had to do with Blake Higgins this season. But he's really taken a hold of this number 6 jersey this year. And it was going to be a hold because we've seen Jack Payne last year play 6 for the Butchers. So they were looking for a number 6, and Ryan Fletcher has done a great job.
As that one is waved away, 30-4 the score.
Successful, so the Helensburgh Tigers scoreboard remains.
And you do try to find a place for the best players, and the way he's played this year, Ryan Fletcher, you can just see footballer, pure footballers in there. My absolute favourites that you see going around in this league, the likes of your Mick Murphys, your Grant Smiths. Those sorts of guys that have been around the league they've always been my favourite players to watch.
Blakey Phillips, you've got to give Blake Phillips a rap.
Well, yeah, man. There you go, Blakey Phillips as well. But the pure footballers, they're the ones that you love to watch. What's playing Ryan Fletcher in that category is he'll come forward and field that one. And the trick shot, they go short side for, and they'll say it was forward, and they're getting a little bit too clever there. They thought they had a little trick shot there. Aaron Shop just scored the try, and he was standing over there on that side. Ryan Fletcher just throws him. It was a bit Tom Brady-ish. He threw the pitch forward. It was no good.
No, it wasn't. That just goes to show the confidence that this Thirroul side's got at the moment. But Coach Costello, he'd be a little bit furious about that. How bad is it when teams don't complete their set after points?
Indeed, it is always top of the list.
You're keeping it on, Kezi Apps over here, aren't
mate,
you?
I'm telling you.
You haven't said a word.
I'm just watching the warm-up back here, and I'm just thinking, how are they going to... I just think, what must you be thinking when you rock up here? It's a cold Rex Jackson Oval, 4:30 in the afternoon, and you run out the opposition and you see Kezi Apps, probably the best forward in the women's game. Geez, it's got to have you drooping the shoulders just slightly before you even get on the park, doesn't it?
Oh, it sure does. We talked about her in the pre-game there at the gate collecting the money coming in. She's such a good club person for the Helensburgh Tigers.
We see the kick in behind there from Willis Nisbet giving chase, but Crosland going back and running that one dead. So the repeat set for the Tigers.
They need to do more of that, the Tigers, don't they? Put pressure and look for those repeat sets.
building pressure. It's been somewhat beyond them this season, and the ability to build pressure.
They're the first ones
and
to put their hand
sustain
up as well and say that that's
They
what we're not doing.
absolutely they are,
But we've seen this year a lot of honesty within the camps, haven't we?
Yeah, they are, exactly. I think it's been that type of season. It sort of speaks for itself with what's going on. Not a lot of subtleties in what every team goes about their business. It's all pretty clear and makes it nice, fun and easy for us to analyse. As we see Wolf at dummy half onto Nisbet.
Speaking of this women's side, there's also another very good player, Jessica Surgis.
Yeah, well, there you go, okay. So how would you feel coming up against that Helensburgh side?
Poor Wingdang Pelicans.
Wingdang Pelicans rocking up here today and seeing those two genuine superstars of the women's game. That game to come this afternoon. Williams. And that pass hitting the deck, and Dargan was looking it up with open space in front of him. He spilt that. It'll be play on now for Peachy. He's tackled there by Shop. So another back-to-back set for the Tigers. Gallen. He's providing the settler there. 10 metres out dead in front of the post. Plays the ball to Williams. Flat ball there, and geez, Mitch McRae got cleaned up there by Sirinen, and I think Michael Ford has seen that. He's going to give the penalty away. Sirinen, you've got a feel for the big man, don't you, when you've run that far to try to put pressure on the half when he passes the ball. He got there as quick as he could.
There's no emergency break, is there, for Sirinen, where he can just stop?
Yeah, do you think he's just going to get a bit of a chat, and he's just going to be put on report there? Late, I don't think you'll have too much to worry about with that one, Johnny, but certainly late in the penalty warranted.
Well, they're going to be busy this week, aren't they, in town?
There you go.
Beer Baron's going to have a bit of time spent there, I reckon, this week.
Mate, he's separate from the judiciary process, you know that. But I'll have to convene a meeting to have a look at a few things.
You might be busy then.
I could be. Look, I'm sure Russell Aiken will have to front the judiciary, and no choice in my mind for Helensburgh to fight that and try to get him to play the remainder of the season. Some crucial games coming down the stretch. Obviously, Berkeley next week, and then they finish up with the clash against Collegians with their finals fate on the line.
Well, next week turns into a game for the Berg against Berkeley, a must-win.
Well, it's interesting because we've got to keep following the scores. Berkeley up against the Canaries there at Berkeley Sports Ground. So we'll have to play in that result. Of course, Dapto with the bye next week. So the way this one's playing out, they will draw level with the Tigers on 10 competition points. Assuming, as I think we can safely do now, that the Tigers won't get away with this one. So they'll be locked on 10 points as of next week. Berkeley, the chance to really upset the apple cart. Peachy.
I'd like to see more of Peachy do this, come in the middle of the field.
I agree, Johnny, I'm with you. Such a big body and takes so much stopping, but just parked on the wing limits the effectiveness just slightly. And Willis, that ball hitting the deck, and, well, it just continues a pretty clunky second half. Johnny, neither side really building much momentum, putting much together. We've seen a try apiece, but you just sense both sides are perhaps thinking about those cold tins a little bit.
Yeah, Helensburgh, they're keen to get Old Boys Day celebrations out of the way and watch a couple of superstars in the women's game, Rex Jackson Oval and the Butchers. They're starting to focus on next week now, aren't they?
Well, they really need to. They need to find something here in this last 12 minutes, because you really don't want a disappointing 40 minutes. You want to take momentum into next week, and where they will be playing in that massive one against West. That's going to decide first and third spot on the ladder, according to the Taste of Steel algorithm, as Henderson dummies back on the inside. I think he got overrun there by Walsh just slightly. And Walsh putting this one high for Willis. He's got Peachy with him, he dummies. He takes it up over the 30. Peachy at dummy half. He's up to the 40, finds his front. Looking for the quick play, the ball won't get it as quickly as he like. Wolf now getting in on the back of his work. He'll take it over halfway. I'm not sure who that is in back by. I think it's Nahana Walters, maybe picking up a bit of a calf injury there. Stojanovski taking it up just short of the 30.
He'd have to be somewhere in the point system today,
Stojanovski, he'd have to, certainly. That is the last tackle. Williams now. McRae. It's a high one. It's a tester there. Simpson and Higgins, and he's going to leave that one for Tom Simpson. He takes it well in the end. I think he's still in his in goal. Hard to tell from our vantage point.
Good work there, Tommy
Made
Simpson.
it into the back, into the field of play. And Dargan. The offload for Tatawa. He's got Crosland in support. Crosland going to take the percentage play and come back in field. And Ruskin. Hasn't he been industrious this afternoon?
He gets
Joel
better and
Ruskin.
better each year, Joel Ruskin.
He does. Well, he probably gets more adept at playing in the front row, you would think. He said last year, and I wrote it, him and Beathy, the front rowers last year. I think they played in a grand final at 5'8" and fullback about a decade before. But the way he's going about his business in the front row, not too many doing it better at the moment.
No, he's just honest, isn't he? You know what you're going to get out of Rusco week in, week out.
And Walsh putting this kick down to the open space. That's a good kick. He'll get the roll on. It might have been from inside the 40. It's rolling towards the touchline, and it will go there. And I think that's from inside the 40. No, it wasn't. He was just outside. Hard to tell as we touch on every now and again. No red paint on the 40-metre line up here at the Berg.
Well, they get the stone dust from the pit, so there's no red stone dust underground, so until they get that, I don't think the Berg will be producing red lines.
That may well have been inside the 40. The referee just couldn't quite
Couldn't judge it.
judge it.
There's a couple of the Berg players starting to feel the pinch out there at the moment. Mitch, you've got Luke Williams there just down in back play who's put a big stint in.
I think he's been a bit hobbled since he tried to score that try from close range and spilt that ball.
Well, he
I think
had an
he's been
injury
doing a bit
earlier on
tough.
in the year, didn't he?
He
He
has. I
played a
think
couple of
he's-
good games, then got injured. He come back.
It was a knee injury. I think he's been playing wounded for a lot of the year, Williams, and it's had a big impact on where the Tigers have gone. In particular, some of those games they dropped at the start of the year that we thought may come back to bite them were games where they were slightly depleted and had some of their key men missing. So,
Corrimal game up here.
horrible game up here. Don't bring that up again. Poor
I
old.
think
They would have
I
forget
think
about that.
Gav heard me then.
Oh, I think he might have. Don't bring that up again. But we'll see what that really, or how that really counts to their finals chances as the season wears on.
Tell you what, that bar up there is getting louder and louder, isn't it?
Isn't it? Isn't it?
You're
It's
right to be
getting
throwing
very
down a couple
rowdy.
of cold ones in there now, wouldn't
Get
it?
very rowdy. I knew we should have done the call from up there, Johnny. I know.
Oh,
I know
no
we
one would have
floated
been
the
able to hear
idea.
us.
I know we floated the idea. It's what you got the microphones for.
We could have had a couple of guest speakers throughout the day.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, we'll cross
Translation might have been needed
We-
about now.
We might have a few Matt Moylan situations too up there. The perils of the live stream.
They're going to settle in here tonight, aren't they, the Berg?
Yeah, it'll be a good night up here at the
Yep.
Berg, regardless of the result. And it's got to be said about the Helensburgh club. They had an absolute golden period when I first started covering the league with the premiership and the grand final, and just a great side, but hasn't been quite that good going for them the last couple of years. But the crowds look exactly the same as they did in that golden era, and
They
that's
stick solid, the
that's
locals
a huge,
here, don't they?
yeah, it's an absolute huge rap to the Helensburgh club. I haven't seen a crowd that's been small even since those days, the halcyon days. It's been the same. They really, really support their team, their club, and their town.
There's probably not a looser supporter base than the Burgers.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I love coming up here, mate. It's fantastic. So Wolf, dummies on the outside. Wolf Gallagher come back onto the park there for the Butchers. Nisbet. Bailey. Held there in the centre of the park, just short of the 30. And they come open side. And we haven't got a 22 on the team sheet, so I'm not quite sure who the man is there, but that's a very good kick.
Nice kick.
Crosland. Call him Agent 22 with the number on the back. But a good kick in the end. And the Butchers, they'll have to do the hard defensive work on their line.
Just still watching the girls warm up over here. Kelsey App's holding the tackling bag. You wouldn't want to run into it, would you?
Yeah, you can leave me out of that one as well. That also makes me glad that I'm up here on the balcony.
Bit of confusion who's taking the drop out here.
Yeah, we see, but we'll get it going. Willis on to Gallen. And Gallen will... The game's
Rusco.
done, but that's a good carry from Gallen too. He's just really steamed onto that one. Plays with his absolute heart and soul, Gallen. Must run in the family, you would
Only
think.
short and low to the ground, isn't he?
Indeed, but Williams at dummy half. Atkinson off his right foot coming back centre field. 7 minutes left on the clock here. The Tigers looking to grab some points. And as we've said, every point counts this stage of the year. In that battle for fourth spot, they'd love to grab another 4-pointer. Gallen. Second carry of the set for Gallen. And now Nisbet, he'll like his chances from close range, Nisbet, but he'll be held up just short, and that is the last tackle. And not for the first time this afternoon, Johnny. They die with the ball in the last tackle.
I don't know who it is. I'd like to get a name on the 22 because since he's come onto the field, it seems their attacks have been a little bit better. It's not as clunky. He's got a lot more runners in motion outside of him on this left-hand fringe. Even though they are, it's still down to only got 12 players on the paddock.
We see Simpson now. That's a good carry from the winger. Now Ruskin on the back of it. Well, I thought if Ryan Fletcher's been the best player in the park, Joel Ruskin for the Butchers is probably running a close second. Crosland. Now it's Johnson to Tower. And now Higgins. Infield, some space on that side. Walsh, Fletcher. He was looking for the tip on there, but a good tackle. It was Azan Taroa. Ball and all brings Fletcher to the deck. And now back infield, Shop. He's got support in Johnson. Johnson going for the line. He's going to have to take them on himself. Siren in the statue, and he's dragged down by Azan Taroa, the 100-gamer. And well, isn't that an effort, Johnny? The game pretty much gone, but still coming across in cover to make the tackle. 100 games of first grade for this club, Azan Taroa, and you get a good window into why he's been so good for this club for so long right there.
It does. It shows just how much that this orange and black jersey means to Azan. 100 games they've put in the effort until the end.
I was going to say it will be Taroa taking that carry, but it's peachy.
What about the speed in the gap there from Shop once he hit a fresh air?
Off the left foot, and away he went. Johnson in support, but the defence still loomed.
The statue was inside.
Credit to the Tigers. There are a lot of orange jerseys converged around that, so perhaps aware of that differential and not wanting to give away any cheap points at the end of this one. And look, it's got to be a credit to the Tigers. They came out here with 12 men in the second half. And the scoreline in the second half, 6-4 to the Butchers. So they've made a game of it in this half. The damage done in the opening 40 minutes was always going to be too tough to reel in, but there's got to be some encouraging signs, I think, for Gavlin.
It's a 40-20.
And there it is. Higgins. And they'll say it was a 40-20. So 4 minutes left on the clock. The Tigers, they're on the hunt for more points here, Johnny. Look, and if they score again here and they effectively win the second half, there's some positives to take out of that for Gavlin.
Especially with 12 men on the field. They've played 12 versus 13 in the second half against the competition leaders. They're only down by 2 on the scoreboard in the second half, 6-4, as you touched on. Confidence for them to score another 4-pointer here would be huge going into next week's game.
Indeed, it would. They'll be looking to do just that. And a penalty. Hand on the ball. And you think they'll tap and go?
Just Siren in there, just getting the defensive line set.
Gallen still going with the leg drive. He'll play it a metre short, directly under the black dot there. Williams now. Onto the 22. The mythical number 22. We still haven't got a name on him, not on the team sheet, but that's Wolf now playing in a metre out. And he spilt the ball there at dummy half. So that set peters out to not much. And with 3 minutes to go, Johnny, both sides very much looking at the tins now, you'd think.
Oh, they would be. I think the Butchers have got their minds set on the Ryans or the Beaches Hotel in the next hour or so. Well, so do I, to be honest. I'll be gracing probably
we can put us
Hotel.
in that camp. Put us in that camp.
Yeah, I think I'll be down there, have a beer. Mark, I know you and the Smoocher are down there watching at the moment, so have one ready for me when I get in.
Mate, you're going to need you need to buy Blake Higgins 2 schooners.
I'll go own 2.
You've dropped
Own
him the
2.
Lee Higgins twice. I think we owe all the viewers a scooter.
We had a shocker.
That. We had a
early on,
shocker
didn't we?
there in the middle part. So hopefully redemption could be sweet. And now it's the Butchers making a mistake out of trouble. So the chance, again, with just under 3 minutes left to play for the Tigers to grab some more points here.
Coach Sammy Bremner behind us, just leading the Tiger Lilies around.
And now it is McRae feeding the scrum. Stojanovski, he's looking for points. He's a metre short. Flat ball there for Gall, and that's a good tackle from Sirinen. A try saver.
His defence has been a feature today, Sirenen's, hasn't it? We talk a lot about his attacking game, but his defence has been so good.
In particular in this second 40. And now flat ball there. Atkinson going for the try line, and he's going to score. And there it is, an important try in the scheme of things. And it was Ryan Fletcher. Well, we basically gave him the man of the match award a bit earlier, but one-on-one there with Atkinson, he just drops off that one. And
nice
a pretty
line
important
there.
4-pointer, a nice line from Atkinson. He just went with the flight of the pass. Too much for Fletcher to handle there, and he crosses, and that will be a positive now for the Tigers, Johnny. They've won this second half with 12 men.
A huge positive for them. 12 men against the competition leaders here, the Thirroul Butchers.
Yep.
And I tell you what, Jared Costello, he'd have to be having some thoughts about this Butchers' effort in this second half.
Be interesting. It might be one of those ones he just shrugs off those 2 up to days, but
it's another week that's gone by where we haven't seen Thirroul achieve and go to their capabilities that we know that they're capable of.
yeah, indeed.
Especially going into next week's absolute blockbuster.
Well, they've really come out and made something of it, the Tigers, because I think coming to the ground, Johnny, we thought the Thirroul were quite rightly pretty heavy favourites to win the game. So, in the end, to stem that tide, 30-8, doesn't look all that good on paper, but the way the game's played out, they will have some positives. And, of course, we haven't even got the result yet on the Dapto-Berkeley clash, but that could keep them still in a very, very good position.
Well, they had 24 on the scoreboard in the first half, the Butchers. They've only been able to put 6 on it in the second against a 12-men Tigers outfit.
And the flags go up, so Willis making no mistake there. 30-10 the score. And the Butchers in no rush to get this back underway as we count down to 23 seconds. I don't think we're going to see
Even though
a restart here.
They've gone by on the scoreboard 30-10. They'll walk off this field with their heads held high here, and they should get clapped off here by the Tigers faithful. 12 men against your competition leaders. It's been a big effort.
Indeed it has. A gutsy effort from the Tigers. Won't be enough to get the 2 points on the competition ladder, and look, they're going to go for some more points here by the looks of things on half-time, and on full-time rather, and well, that ball just hits the deck, so now it's the Butchers with a chance to pinch some late points. And to Tower, the offload's still going, playing like
I'm sniffing points.
Playing like they're level. Higgins, long ball for Crosland. Crosland the kick back in. And Williams coming through and just sending that one dead. And that will be all she wrote in this one. 30-10 the score. The Thirroul Butchers running out winners over what were ultimately a game. Helensburgh Tigers, the finals race. It continues to heat up as we head down the stretch. We'll head into a blockbuster next week. Thirroul and West will be calling that one, Johnny, at Parish Park. Thank you for joining us this afternoon.
It's been a good day.
Indeed it has. A big thank you to our broadcast partners, UOW College and McDonald's. I've been Mitch Jennings for Bar TV Sports. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you out there next week, somewhere in the Illawarra.
just run it. And then knock it off and then keep running. Keep. Just keep fucking going. Yeah, there was a period there where it went crazy.
All our score changes this year are sponsored by Helensburgh Tyres. Top service and tyres at the right price. Open 6 days a week.
long-time supporter, Transition Automotive. Any problems with your vehicle? I'll see James and his team at Transition Automotive. Jumping castles for your kids' party. See our President Paul Doran, Jumping Fun Castle Hire. Another long-time supporter of the club, K&S Industrial. Thank you for your support. All right, ladies and gentlemen, go and charge your glasses in the bar. We've got 60 minutes of excitement coming up with our Tiger Lilies taking on Window. Right,